Welcome everyone to the Camping Life with Tim. My name is Tim, and I'm here at one of the state parks here in Texas, and I'm going to kind of go around through here and check out what they have to offer, look at some of the campsites, you know, kind of give you a tour of the park, so to speak. But you know, I'd like to see more people get out and enjoy life. You know, come out to these parks, bring your family or come by yourself. You know, being able to enjoy these parks. They have a lot to offer. We'll go to different areas and talk a little bit more about that. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, please do so. It is a new channel. I just kind of got started at it, so bear with me if my videos are not quite up to par yet, but you know, it's taking me a little time to get into a routine or a pattern here, how to make these videos, you know, I guess better, you know, where you'll enjoy being able to give you information that will help you out when you come to these parks. Anyways, we're going to kind of walk around. We're here at Tyler State Park, and you know, this park, they purchased the land from private owners back in 1977, and then in 1980 the U.S. Soil and Conservation Corps came in and built the dam here, kind of a flood control, from what I understand. I guess in about the mid 1980s, you know, the lake pretty much filled up and started to run off into the streams. I do know that, you know, they stock the lake here. There's a lot of fish, you know, a lot of fish people come here to fish, as well as I guess in the 1987 or 88, not quite sure which one, is when the park opened to the public. So you know, this is just peaceful and quiet out here. It's about 3, maybe 4 miles north of Eustis, here on 316, just off of 175, and that's kind of east between Dallas, Texas, and west of Athens, Texas, and south of Canton, Texas. So it's kind of out here in the country. Not a whole lot of people here today because it's during the week and it's almost Christmas time. The weather, it's cloudy, and you know, decent weather for December, actually. You know, it's supposed to get up into the 70s today. So let's go ahead and just check out this park and see what it has to offer. I'm going to take a look at the park map. Like I say, when you come into the park and check in, be sure to ask them for a map of the park as well as a map of the trails. One other thing I forgot to mention was, if you buy you a park pass, which I recommend, that you do have discounts. There are some benefits from it. If you're buying anything from the park store, there's a discount on that, as well as if you're camping and spend more than one night, you get a discount on your second night. Anyways, going to try to close in here, see if it'll show up. But like I say, this is where you'll enter the park here. This is where the headquarters are. And then, of course, you know, if you go on down across, that's over into the day use area. Come across the dam. Over here is the other area where you can fish, pick up your firewood, and then, of course, you know, come on back up around the road. These are your RV spots back up in here. Also, you can park up in here, and that's where you pick up the trail to go over into the primitive campsites. And of course, you know, I'll have a little bit more information on those areas in this video. Alright, let's take a look at the trail map. Once again, this is where you come into the entry here at the park headquarters, and back over in here is the day use area. Of course, going across the dam over here into where you can fish and your firewood is. But you have one trail here that runs along the lake. It's the green trail, and it'll come on up around, cross back over the road, and you'll start over into the other side where the blue trail and the red trail is located. And then of course you come on back up into where the RV park is. This is the trail that goes back into the primitive campsites. And with all the trails, it totals a little over 5 miles. So let's get back out here and check out some of the trails. Alright, we're here at the entry of the park where you'll come in, and the headquarters where you'll check in. You'll drive up and pay your entry fee, which is $5 per person to get into the park. Be sure to ask them for a map layout of the park, as well as a trail map. It'll kind of help you out. They do have a little store here on the inside where you can go in, and they do have not very much in there, but they do have like some drinks and some fishing supplies, as well as walking sticks, t-shirts, coffee mugs, little gifts or knickknacks that you can purchase here. Some information on the park, or even some information on other parks here in the state. So be sure to go in and check it out. Everybody that works here, they're all friendly, and they're just full of information. They can answer probably any question you may have. They do have restrooms up here as well. If you do come in late, they do have a check-in station here where you can come in and fill out the little information. There's a board here that tells you all the fees, which is if you're just, like I say, if you're just coming in for today, it's $5 entry fee per person. If you're coming in to the campsites, if you're have like an RV, or you can't set up a tent even on the RV place, they do have electricity and water. Electricity is only a 30 amp. There is no sewage hookup, but they do have a dump station here where you can empty out when you leave. They also have a primitive campsite, which there's no water or electricity. Something you're going to have to backpack back in to those campsites, which we'll get to those in the video when we go check out those sites. For the primitive camping, it's $10 a night. Now I do know that you're only allowed 4 people per night in the primitive on a campsite, as to where you're allowed 8 people in the sites that have electricity and water. The board up here, it gives you some other information, different activities that they have. They also have, like I say, the information sheet on what you need to do to check in. Now, I've heard that if you come in after hours and you don't have reservations for a site, you can always drive in and see if there's any sites available, which I'll show you how you'll know whether they are available or not in another portion of this video. But if you find a spot that is open, then you can come back down and fill out the information needed. But one thing you'll have to do is you'll have to get up early in the morning when the headquarters opens up, so you can come in and, you know, finish up the paperwork to get your sticker and make sure everything's good to go. Another thing, if you don't have a park pass, which I would recommend to get because it is beneficial, you can purchase that here at the headquarters as well. And they are good for all state parks here in Texas. The pass is $70, and you can also get a second pass. I believe it's $25 more. But the second pass has to go to either a spouse or someone that lives in the household. But that pretty much gives you most of the information. I'm just kind of panning around out here at this entry. Looks like they'd done a controlled burn here not too long ago, because it's all kind of cleared out compared to a lot of the other places. Now I do have a couple, 2 or 3 other videos out. The one video, the first one I did, is when I came with my daughter and her family out here to go on a trail hike with them, and kind of brought back some memories, got me hooked into wanting to come back out and connect with the outdoors, possibly go camping again, which I hadn't done in probably over 50 years. So, you know, that's kind of what's got me into opening up a new channel, doing these videos. So, anyways, let's go ahead and drive on back here to the day use area and see what all they have to offer back there. Alright, we're over here at the day use area. There is one other thing that I didn't mention, was in some of these videos that I already have out. About a week or so ago, they had Christmas in the park here, where a lot of people that had camped out decorated, you know, all around their trailers or their tents, and one weekend, and opened it up to the public, where if they brought an unwrapped toy, they could get in free and you know, drive through the park to check out all the Christmas decorations. That was pretty awesome. They did a wonderful job. Some of them, they must have really been in the Christmas spirit, because they were all decked out. But it was pretty cool. A lot of people did come visit, because I know when we were here, there was quite a few people, so traffic was kind of going slow, because everybody was enjoying seeing all the decorations, almost like going through some kind of Christmas village. But it was pretty awesome. They did a wonderful job. Here at the park, or back here at the day use area, they do have like a volleyball court over here, you know, picnic table where parents can sit and watch or whatever, take a break. Back here, I'm going to try to zoom in, see if we can see it from here. Figure out how to zoom in. I'm hitting the wrong button, that's the one problem. But right back there, might have to get a little bit closer. There's some nesting boxes up here. I don't think it's for bass. I think it might be for like butterflies, possibly, because they're not very deep. They're tall and kind of wide, so they're not for like birds. They'll be for like probably butterflies, I would almost say. But they have those back here, I guess, to attract, you know, butterflies. I don't think it's bats, but I don't know, I may be wrong. If you happen to know what those are, please leave a comment. Now, I do know back over here, not quite sure, but on the map it shows there's campgrounds over here, which was possibly maybe Primitive. But from what I understand, they had to close it down a few years back because there was a gas line that ran through back here somewhere, and I guess it had a leak, so they had to close this section down back here. They did tell me up there at the ranger station that you know, eventually they're going to open up some more campgrounds in here, so that would be pretty awesome. So hopefully we'll see in the near future some more, you know, campsites. I believe there used to also be a trail over here at one time, but I believe they closed it down. Oh, there's a big bird there somewhere. There he is. Yeah, pay attention, because you will see wildlife. He's just flying over top of me. I guess he thinks I'm food or something. I don't know. He's just cruising around. Yeah, pay attention when you're out here at these parks, because especially on a weekday or early in the morning or evening, because you may see some wildlife, whether it's deer, squirrels, maybe an armadillo or possum. You know, there are a lot of birds as well out here. This kind of gives you a sight of the map, which I'll show that a little bit better probably in the beginning of the video. Kind of give you an idea of the layout of the park. And then of course it gives you the different things where everything is, whether it's restroom, showers, you know, where places to park, hiking trails, biking trails, fishing, swimming. You know, it'll give you all that information on these boards. That's why I say when you check in, make sure you get a map of the park where all the campsites are, as well as a map of all the trails. This is a pavilion that you can rent out for, you know, either maybe a wedding, you know, a family reunion, or just a gathering of, you know, a bunch of friends. They got, you know, a big burn pit here in the ground where you can have a fire if they're not having a fire band. They also have a couple standing grills over here, but they got plenty of places to sit down. And they do have lights here and fans in the ceiling, so if it's nighttime, you know, you'll have some light. You won't be here in the dark. There is water taps out here to where, you know, if you got to wash your hands or wash dishes, there is a water source. And I'm not sure what this structure is here. I'd say at one time, maybe that was a water fountain from the looks of it. No longer in use, but that's pretty cool looking. You will see stuff like this at different parks, especially ones that was basically developed by the CCC. This park, CCC wasn't involved in this one, so you know, it was, like I say, it was bought by the state park from private owners of the land. So I guess pretty much they did all the developing here for this park. Walk down here where the day use center is, you'll see that a lot of trees, so there'll be a lot of shade during the summertime. A lot of picnic tables and standing grills, you know, all over, you know. And of course they got water taps every so often throughout here where people will be able to, you know, have access to water. So let's go on down here and check out the swimming area. This is a swimming area they have where you can bring all the kiddos, you know, come spend the day out here at the park, you know, where you're maybe having a picnic or cooking out, where they can come and swim. Now, they do not have a lifeguard here, so, you know, keep an eye on the kiddos. You don't want any accidents to happen out here. But they do have buoys out there, so you know, this is kind of a designated area. This is where they're permitted to swim. No boats are allowed over in this area. It does have like a wall that goes around on both all through here, and I guess, you know, you'd come here at the end of the wall to get out, or maybe climb up over the wall. I do know that the lakes are pretty low because we haven't had rain in quite a while, so hopefully the lake will fill back up once we get into the rainy season. It looks like back over that way there's like a little cutout area, like a path that goes around, maybe to where you can get over there and possibly do some fishing. You're not permitted to fish right here in the swimming area. No pets are allowed right down here in the swimming area. But you can see just all over this day use area, there's all kinds of picnic tables and grills. They also have a playground back over here where you know, kids can come over here and play on the playground. You got a sliding board, swing set, you know, all kinds of things here for the family to do. There is a restroom right here close by. It doesn't have the showers in it, but they do maintain these restrooms well. They are clean, and you know, they're real nice. You know, they're not new, but they are decent. They are usable. I see somebody over here at the boat ramp area putting in a boat, so we're going to take a drive over there and check that little area out. I'm over here in the boat ramp area, and this is kind of neat. They have a place where you can rent like a kayak. It's a little kiosk machine where you use a credit card and be able to rent you a little kayak here. They have 4 of them, so I guess it's kind of first come first serve. If there's one available, you can rent it. And you know, got a little locker, will have a life vest in it and an oar. Let's see, we can see what information it gives here. Okay, I'm kind of close up here. I don't know, you might be able to read it, but it says rental prices up to 2 hours is $24, up to 4 hours is $45, up to 8 hours is $80, up to 12 hours is $100. So you know, you can use a credit card, and I guess it'll unlock the one of the lockers, as well as one of the locks here on the where the kayaks are. And then I guess once you lock it back up, then it'll figure out how long you had it and how to charge you. Now, of course, they got a little dock back here where you can just launch it. No fishing allowed from the dock there, or the boat ramp dock, which is over here. We're going to walk over here and check it out. Alright, here at the boat ramp, looks like it's pretty decent. It's wide. They got a little dock there. However, like I say, the lake is real low. It's quite a distance from the top of the dock down there to where your boat would be. But they do have other places the boat can kind of pull over here along the side to get in close to, you know, where you can get on your boat. This is a no wake lake, so you know, you don't have to do an idle speed only or use your trolling motor. It does tell you that you cannot use trout lines or jig lines, you know, for fishing. That's prohibited here. And of course, they got a couple picnic tables over in this area. Now over here is a fishing dock, which looks like a lot of birds have kind of taken over here. I got a few of them over there. Let's see if we can zoom into them. You got a few of them over here hanging around, and out there on the dock. Of course, the camera's just too far away to be able to see them out there, but I don't know, maybe you can. But there's several of them out there, you know, on the rails, and I guess they're waiting for some fish to come up. Let's walk over here and check it out. Maybe see if these birds will kind of take off here. They do also have a cleaning station out here to clean your catch if you're lucky. Of course, the way my luck goes, I don't catch anything. The fish get fed, but not me. So, who knows? Maybe one of these days, you know, I'll get lucky and maybe catch some. Sorry if the camera's shaking, but you know, kind of hard to keep it steady when I'm walking here, but I'm trying to do my best. They don't seem to be too much afraid of humans. You know, they're just kind of hanging out here. They do have lights out here on the dock, so you can do some night fishing. No unattended items left. And of course, it gives you a little list of the different type of fish that are in this lake, from you know, bass, crappie, sunfish, channel cats. So, and it does give you some rules or regulations here of how many you're limited to catch, what size they say that you can catch and keep. All rest you just have to catch, and if they're not to their rules here, then you just release them back into the water. But yeah, these birds are just kind of taking over out here for now. See these birds all the time, but I don't think I've ever been this close to them without them taking off. This is a pretty good sized lake. It's decent. There are a few boats out here on the water, people fishing. Of course, back over that way, that's the dam that U.S. Soil Conservation built, you know, to kind of make this lake. But they do have some picnic tables over here as well to kind of sit around. I don't see no standing grills, but you can pack a picnic and come over here and, you know, see what the fishermen are doing. Let's go ahead and check out some other locations here. Way back over yonder is where we just came from, back over there where the day use area is, pavilion, boat docks. Is back over there. We're on this side of the dam over here. One thing I noticed, that they have a little trail that walks right alongside the dam over here. It's they call it the solar walk. And they have little plaques like this across here that give you some information on different planets. And they have it scaled out, you know, I guess basically telling how far the planets are from each other. So that'd be pretty cool to walk across and check out, which we'll do on one of our videos to go out across that. But people come over here on this side and do fishing. They got a restroom over here, no showers. A few tables here. Don't see any barbecue grills, so, you know. Walk down here, and this is one of the trails of the park. Get down here and see if we can find out a little information on it. You will find these little trail stations, different areas for the different trails, where it'll have a map and give you kind of idea. Of course, over here they also have a chart of the fish and that information. We are okay. We were over here in this area. That's where the boat docks are, the pavilion, and then of course, you know, come across the dam here. This is the park entrance down here, but we're over here at this point right here, and there's a trail that cuts across through here, and I guess goes up to where the RV park is right in here. So it's called the Wolf Pen Hiking Trail, and it's also a bike trail. It's 0.8 miles, you know, across there. It basically runs across the lake here, and you know, if I can get my finger in here, not where you can see it, but it runs right up along the lake, back loops kind of around and back over and up to the main road, which I guess is right here that comes across. So, but if you cross on over, then you'll go over to two other trails that are back over here. So it gives you a little bit of information, some safety tips. I guess this is kind of a green layout of, you know, the wooded area, trees, and, you know, different information there. But they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trails here. They got the Red Wolf Pen Trail, which is 1.2 miles. The Blue Wolf Pen Trail, which is 2.1 miles. Beaver Slide Path, which is 1.3 miles. The Green Wolf Pen Trail, which is the one I'm at right here, and it's showing it's 1 mile, but the sign over here says 0.8 of a mile. And then the Solar System Trail, which is the one that goes across the dam, is 0.25 miles. But basically, you're gonna walk back through there. Well, looks like we got some aerial birds up here flying around. I don't know if those are the ones that were over there on the dock. But way back over yonder, I got a couple more docks over there, but those come off of the RV and tent camping sites. Back over there is where those piers are going to be, which we'll get over there and check them out a little bit. And later on we'll walk this trail and see what it kind of looks like. Another thing I also noticed here, that state parks in Texas, they do not permit you to gather any of the fallen trees or branches that are dead for fires at your campsite. That's prohibited. You know, you either have to bring firewood with you, or right here at this location they have a kiosk machine also that sells firewood. Walk over here and check it out. You can also use a credit card here in order to get it, and once you make your purchase, one of the lockers will open up and, you know, get your bundle of firewood. And I don't know, it looks like pretty much all the same size, so let's see if we can find out how much it is. Okay, well, it says it's got two different sizes, but no, actually just one size. Large bag of firewood, $13.99 plus tax. So you'll use the kiosk machine there, and then One of these locker doors will open up so you can get your firewood out. It's kind of convenient. That way you don't have to carry it with you. You can, once you get set up, you can run down here and grab your firewood. That way you can have a campfire for the night. Of course, like I say, it's all going to depend on if they have a burn ban going on. So make sure you check ahead of time, you know, call the park and see, you know, if there's a burn ban on it, and, you know, kind of give you a little information there. Let's go on up here and check out some of the camp area. Alright, well, I'm here at the beginning of the RV park, and it's also a little parking area for two of the trails, the Wolfpen Blue Trail and the Wolfpen Red Trail, which kind of goes back in over here through the woods, back here behind this sign. Of course, once you park, you'll have to walk down this way just a little bit, and then the trail will begin to the right here. Gives you some information. The red trail is 1.2 miles, and of course this sign says the blue trail is 2 miles, but it's a little bit further. They're a little different in some of the information on the different signs they give us, how long these trails are. And across over here, that's the green trail. This is where it would come out here from where we were over there, where the firewood kiosk station is, and the place to fish, and the solar walk. It'll come out right here. So we're going to walk back here and check out a few of these campgrounds, because they're somewhat empty right now. Alright, we are here at campsite 1. It's the first one coming in, and you'll notice that A there. As I was saying earlier when I was over there at the headquarters where you come into the park, if you're coming in after hours and you know, you don't have a reservation, you can drive back in here. If you see one of these sites that has that A, that means it's available. If it's already been reserved, that A won't be there. It'll be flipped over, and it'll be an R, meaning that it's reserved. Now, I mean, these are pretty secluded. They're somewhat close by, but when springtime, summertime comes, all this growth, these trees, they'll get green again, and you know, they'll be a little bit more private from your next door neighbor. There's some bikers going on the trail. From the looks of it, it's not a very big site, so you know, be sure to check and find out and make sure how big your back end is, whether it's going to be big enough for, you know, your rig, your trailer, whatever you're coming with. They do have electric and water. As I say, it's 20-30 amp electric. Got a water tap here, picnic table, ground fire pit grill, as well as a lantern pole with 2 hooks on it. And you also have a little pad over here for a tent. So this would probably be ideal for a tent camping site, seeing how is the little parking space is not that long. And it does have a pretty good slope on it, so you know, you have to do a little work to get your trailer leveled out. So, but if you're just coming to camp in a tent, this would be an ideal spot. So peaceful and quiet out here. I do know they have 59 campsites over here. So 59 is over here on the opposite side. And you know, like I say, you know, the drives are not that long, so you know, it probably have to be a pretty small camper, but they all have the same setup. They have you know, 20-30 amp breaker, fire ring, water, picnic table. Don't have no covers over them, but this another one would be a good tent campsite because they do have a tent pad back there in the back. And it looks like quite a few of them over here on this side. This is site 2. But like I say, right now it's winter time. It's in December, almost Christmas, and you know, you can pretty much see right through your neighbors over here. But all this will thicken back up. Don't see no tent pad here, but I mean, there's probably plenty of place where you could set one up. It just doesn't have a pad, but it's got the same features. It's got the picnic table, the ground fire pit, grill. The only thing I don't see over here is any lantern pole to hang your lanterns, but there are plenty of trees that you can hang up from a tree. So, yeah, this would be a pretty good site for a tent campsite. Walk down here and check out a couple more of them, and then we'll drive back in a little bit further and possibly come across some of the ones that are a little longer space to pull your, you know, your trailer or RV into. Don't see no pad over there on 58, but there are places where you could put in, you know, set up your tent. This is 3. It's a little more secluded, kind of hidden. Still got your basic, you know, 20-30 amp electric and water tap. Table kind of sits back in, kind of cozy here. This is a pretty good site. I would recommend this for tent camping. Got the fire pit, double hook lantern pole, aluminum picnic table on a slab, and also back in there it's got a pad for putting up your tent. And of course, you know, you could probably put a tent right in here somewhere. I love these trees. It's just a wooded area, peaceful and quiet. And if you're back in here, you know, you'd be kind of secluded. You know, you got the road that runs by right here, but you're still kind of hidden off in here. Of course, when all this thickens up and gets green, you know, it'd be an awesome place. This is definitely going to be hidden where your tent's at. A little privacy in here. Alright. Well, we're going to go back here to the vehicle and drive up in a little bit further and check out some more of those sites. Now, I'm going to drive back up in here a little bit further. These were the few sites we looked at here in the beginning. Say, be sure you check and make sure the drive or the spot where you're going to back in with your trailer, camper, RV, you know, it's going to be long enough for you to get into. You have to park on the paved. You cannot park, you know, in the grass. Looks like everybody's gone home for the holidays. I do see a few signs here that says reserve, so that means probably somebody's going to be coming in. Some of these sites have tent pads, so it's That's kind of a plus. Some of them are a little bit more open than others. Looks like 110 is kind of tucked back in behind the wood, so that's pretty cool. And of course, they got another parking area for overflow, as well as that's the parking area to go back into the primitive sites. And I do see a trailer up here. It might be Park Host. This place was real awesome during the Christmas in the park. And of course, they got a handicap right here where they'll have concrete going from the drive all the way up to the picnic table. And the picnic table is wheelchair accessible, where it extends out a little bit longer so you can get your wheelchair right up to it. Got an amphitheater back in here, as well as restroom and showers, which is going to be for this park area right here. Got some trash bins to get rid of your trash. Like I say, a lot of these drives are small. There's a small trailer in there. A lot of these, and of course, we get on down here. These areas down here, you get in the area where you can get a view of the lake if you get those sites. It's kind of open, but got a beautiful view of the lake. And this is site 20. Where you just right there at the water to go fishing. And of course, on the other side, kind of sitting back up in. '21 and 22 is also, right here on the lake. Not much area for a tent or anything, but good place to get to the lake to go fishing. Like I say, you'll see most of the trailers here are just small, because there's not a whole lot of room. And then of course you have access right here to get to the docks to go fishing, that you can go back in. So if you're here for fishing, you get in some of these sites. Got over here 40. It's got kind of a step up to get up there where your table is located. 24 doesn't have a big area. You might be able to get a tent in there, but you're right here on the lake. So that's pretty cool. But from the looks of it, got a pretty good sized trailer here at this one, but you can see he's almost right out here in the road. No place to park his vehicle. So keep that in mind when you come to this park. Got some excess parking here, so that's probably a good thing. But if you're just coming to fish, you can back up in here and back down to where you can come and do some fishing. There's plenty of parking down in here. You have access to the dock. And one thing about the state parks, if you're here in the park, you do not need a fishing license to fish. You just gotta abide by their catch rule and the size of the fish, you know, for this. But you walk down through there, you get right to the dock, which is pretty good size. And they also have a clean station down here where you can clean your catch if you're lucky enough to get any. Back out here to check out some more of the RVs. See that these sites are pretty close together. Some of them have tent pads, some of them don't. Some of them are a little bit more secluded than others. There are some of them that are, you know, if you had other people that were coming with you and you could get one little site and someone could get the site right next to you and you got kind of a path that walks in between, you know, where you can go back and forth visiting, you know, that's pretty awesome. There's one that's kind of down in a little bit, but you know, probably set up a tent down in there. This is the parking area for the people who are doing primitive camping. Which you'll go right back down that way to go to the primitive camping, which is down in there. Of course, they got their little things back in here that let you know whether they're available or reserved. And it looks like the majority of them are available right now. There's only one reserved. And I have been back in there, and there are 4 sites that, you know, I kind of recommend. I think they're better sites. They're a little bit more hidden, a little more level, you know, a little bigger where you can get more than one tent in. And we'll go over that in one of my videos. But that pretty much is what this looks like back in here. Like I say, the places are not very big to, you know, for a big rig or you know, gooseneck or anything like that. But you have like an RV or small camper, I don't think you'd have any problems in here. But definitely got some pretty good sites for tents. Well, that pretty much shows you this area. Let's go over here and check out some of the trails. I don't know if you're able to see this, but we're fixing to hike the trails. We are right here, and we're going to hike back up and around and hit this red trail, which will go up around loop, come back down, and hit the blue trail coming back out. Well, here on the red trail, and come to a spot. Most of the trail is pretty much flat, you know, easy, but there is maybe a few spots that more moderate to challenging. This one here is kind of a downhill grade, and it's got like steps on it before it crosses over a bridge. Here, the little ravine, but we kind of come from this way, and you know, since we passed the corner back there, it's been kind of a gradual downhill slope until I get right to this point. But like I say, it's got like little concrete steps on it. Of course, you're seeing my shadow. The sun finally decided to come out. I'll get down this way, that way I can kind of turn around and maybe get a better idea of these steps going up. But that's pretty much level, and that's probably, you know, if I stood up there, it's probably about a 6-foot raise between here and the top up there at that point, but it still goes on down. But these trails are pretty awesome out here. Not very many people here today because it's the day before Christmas. There are a few people, but not very many. Most of them are home. And of course, you know, the little water on off the ravines, they're dry as can be because we haven't had no rain here. Anyways, we're going to start back up the other side here and come to something else. We'll kick the camera back on. I'm here on the blue trail, and of course the trail is just kind of zigzagging back and forth all the way down through here. You know, to be able to make the course a little bit longer. But as I said earlier, that some of these trails are pretty much flat, but there are spaces where it has a little bit of a incline or downcline. But you know, be careful when you're walking these trails because there are roots that are sticking up out of the ground and they will trip you. But it is beautiful over here, nice, peaceful, quiet. The woods are pretty thick. You know, a lot of it's dead right now because of being December, but I imagine springtime when everything starts growing again and greening up, you're not going to be able to see much through here other than the path that you're walking on, or even some of the trails. But, yeah, a little bit of an incline. Of course, the sun's kind of blocking it out there. Anyways, I'm going to go on down. Have a red or purplish type berry here on this plant. I'm not sure what kind of plant this is. If you know, please leave a comment. Let me know what kind of plant that is. I hear a squirrel here. Not quite sure where he's at. Getting close to him though. Huh? There's a bird. It just flew over that other tree. Bird? Well, kind of sounded like a squirrel. I don't know what kind of bird it was. I can't remember any bird makes that sound, but doesn't mean they don't. don't know if you can see it or not. A lot of crows. Never know what you're going to see on these trails. It's a little buck. Yeah. You're there doing your own business, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, little buck.